Hello everyone. On the current 4.10 PTU, we have now Siege of Orison instanced. According to CRG devs, instancing uses dynamic server meshing to create your instance. We have no feedback and it's not exactly good. As expected, CRG even fails at instancing. Instancing is well established in MMOs for more than 20 years by now. I said in my videos I don't expect Siege of Orison instancing to work. Why? Because we already have instancing in the game, our personal hangars are instanced, but there are massive issues. Our hangars overlap, this can lead to a ship getting impounded and you lose your cargo. And because of overlapping hangars, ships can spawn in the same spot, this can lead to a ship getting damaged and even destroyed. By the way, Siege of Orison was even delayed one full patch. Still terrible. Here's a posting on r/Star Citizen, the White Knight Reddit. Revo 76, 4.10 PTU experience for those didn't bother. He is reporting 3 attempts. The first attempt he stopped because there were only 16 players on the server shard. As we were heading to the area, I read multiple chat messages by people asking ATLS support or any support to remove debris and random garbage from tram stop. Yes, CRG still hasn't realized that they need to clean up. If Star Citizen would be a real MMO, there would be game masters you could contact who would clean up the mess. We had this back in Ultima Online 1997. There were game masters you could contact. Then we found out they can go AFK in elevators and completely block the entire shard to run Siege of Orison. For a moment, it seemed like no one in the server managed to pass the mission lobby because there was a group of players AFK in every single elevator. And again, CRG doesn't seem to have any understanding what an MMO is. There's a limited amount of elevators that can get blocked by players. Intentionally or unintentionally, it doesn't matter. This is something an MMO has to address. Again, CRG looked like total amateurs. This is not a small indie studio just starting. This is a project with more than $1 billion in funding in year 14. By the time we arrived, we attempted to take elevator, ended up in a legitimate instance, despite we are both in the same party, and mission taken. Yes, CRG even fails at instancing. Since CRG didn't bother to run this test with Evo or their internal team, what internal team? Or never plays their own game, they must have missed the spot where players will be able to drop ATLS into the mission lobby where the elevators are. As a result, one player with his Geo was randomly killing every single player heading to the Siege of Orison area. As we frantically press a button for the elevators, we also got killed. Well, once again, CRG is almost cute in their naivety. Has no one working for CRG ever played a game online? Does no one at CRG realize there are some people who are playing online games only to grief, only to be dicks? Quit the game. Attempt 3. After a couple of hours, I assume the person is gone or CRG did something internally to ban this person, so loaded the PTU again. It turned out after hours there was still someone in the same ATLS killing people. Do you really think CRG does something internally? They are absolute amateurs. They have no idea how any of this works. They have no idea how online games work. I told my teammate we are gonna rush the elevator and be done with it. We rushed to the elevators as he is busy stomping other players. Elevator button was blacked out but managed to get in. Of course, CRG didn't like this. Game didn't read. We actually took the elevator, so mission didn't start. I was blocked by the standby magic door, whereas my teammate managed to pass. As per tradition, I Alt F4 and magic door was fixed. We both passed the door, no issues, but you see, door is not where the instance starts. It's the staircase leading to the instance tram. As we are going down the staircase, I was teleported to a different instance, exactly above my teammate, 7.5 megameters above. His marker remained on for a while, then disappeared, but it told me where the instance boundary is. As I was trying to figure out what the fuck just happened, I decided to walk back up in the hopes of going back where we started. This puts me into another instance. For a glimpse I saw another player waiting for the tram on the platform. Shortly following after, the collision on the instance disappeared and I fell through the sky, same for my teammate. I really don't know what to say anymore. Year 14, more than $1 billion in funding and CRG even fails at instancing. Heck, not even elevators work reliably. Is there anything CRG can do that actually works? I mean, besides their store pages? Stop giving those losers money, please, stop. It's wasted. The fact is, every feature that is implemented is tier 0 and didn't pass beyond that. Tier 0 item recovery, tier 0 persistent inventory, people still lose their inventory. Tier 0 engineering with gun values and chip values change all the time because CRG can't decide what engineering should be. Yeah, CRG throws new mechanics into the game, half-assed at best, calls it tier 0, and then never touches them for years and years and years. Planet tech is not there, transport refactor never arrived properly to have any proper impact, and we still deal with basic, very basic bugs and issues that should have sorted years ago. When you have the most fundamental features such as elevators, transit, hangars still broken, I don't care what else gets added into the already bloatware codebase of Star Citizen. CRG's code is old and rotten, never maintained. People who wrote the code are long gone, there's little to no documentation. CRG replaced people who know what they are doing with cheap, young, inexperienced people. Of course, it's fine to give young people a chance, but they need experienced people around them to learn from who can lead them. There are not many experienced people left working for CRG. In addition, CryEngine, Lumberyard, Star Engine is so old an engine by now, most of the younger devs don't know how to code for it. Players shouldn't glitch through the doors, they shouldn't drop and block public areas and interrupt the gameplay flow. I know it may sound crazy, but they shouldn't block missions for other players to start by glitching their weapons and other items in. See ATLS example in this posting. The fact these are still happening and using medbeds to block ASAP screens and passages were known issues for years. I would expect level designers at CRG to take necessary steps to mitigate player disruption. But as it's widely known, CRG doesn't play the game they are making. I don't know if CRG can make everything creeper-proof, but an MMO really needs game masters online that you can contact and that remove such obstacles. Same with unstuck. There is still no unstuck command in Star Citizen and no game master you can contact should your character get stuck. It almost feels like the Star Citizen PU only exists to sell ships. Because Chris does not care about the Star Citizen PU, he only cares about his interactive movie Squadron 42, so Chris can cosplay as a movie director again. Star Citizen PU is just Chris' cash cow. Moreover, the so-awaited social features never arrived. There is no crime system implemented in the persistent universe to punish players breaking and damaging the gameplay flow. As for the dude in ATLS, you know they will never get permabanned for ruining the game for dozens of people for hours. Yeah, CRG doesn't seem to realize there's a certain amount of players who only play online games to grieve to destroy the fun others have. In year 14, we still don't even have a reputation system yet. But don't worry, Jared has a solution.
We got like a 17-minute section that's just dedicated to camping and griefing at the spawn habs. You know, you have the option not to. I understand the thing lets you, but it's a choice to do and a choice not to. Every one of us are capable of making those choices.
CRG can throw candy to players every now and then, Siege of Orison for one, but ultimately it's shown multiple times again and again, Star Citizen no CRG has necessary infrastructure implemented to develop this game sustainably. When your instancing relies on cheap workarounds and then flops in a public test universe on day one, there is not much left to say. And for people saying, this is PTU, it will happen. First, the patch always goes. Second, this PTU is gonna go live this month, so stop deluding yourself. When is the last time you saw a PTU with significantly improved to live release? But clearly, I'm the minority here, since the game broke another massive founding goal. I have no idea where this money is coming from and what do people see in this game to pledge. Maybe they don't play it like CIG doesn't, not sure. Anyways, rant done. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Very interesting posting, Revo76, well written. And thank you very much for testing this for us, so we don't have to. Conclusion, year 14, more than $1 billion in funding, but CIG still fails at basic things other MMOs are doing for decades fine. Paying below industry standard, hiring cheap, young, inexperienced devs certainly works. Right, Chris? Chris spent most of the $1 billion on his interactive movie Squadron 42 so he can cosplay as a movie director again, on expensive art for all their studios, his private cinema, etc. I would be very surprised if the Star Citizen PU has even seen $100 million so far. Nothing I see in the game, nothing I read tells me that Chris takes the Star Citizen PU seriously. No, he doesn't. CIG cannot even do a halfway decent user interface, item interaction and inventory system. Moving items in Star Citizen is so slow and clunky. Picking up an item lying on the ground is still a tedious chore and can get you killed in a fight. Something that is quick and painless in 99% of all other games. I know no other game promises what Star Citizen does, I get this. But we will never get a game Chris and CIG promised us in the last 13 years. Never. Stop giving Chris money, he spends it mostly on his vanity projects like Squadron 42 anyway. For those who say, if you stop giving Chris money, this project might fail. Yes, but what is the alternative? Continue to buy ships, continue to give Chris money, so Chris can spend it on his interactive movie Squadron 42, expensive art, and his private cinema. By the way, I don't expect Squadron 42 to get released in 2026, and there will be chapter 2 and 3.
Well, I mean, I think the whole Squadron, it's a sort of it's a trilogy. It's a 3-game arc. Will be before the events will be sort of a little bit before where we're setting the PU. So it will have the same kind of impact that we'll be unlocking new things. So kind of what we would do is we would be doing episode 2 or episode 3. We'll also be adding some opportunity or have content that could be unlocked if you've done that in the PU. Once we have episode 1 out and done with all the technology there, 2 and 3 won't necessarily be, as long a process, right? Because we've had to build all this technology that didn't exist before. We really want to push it, and so we've been focusing on building tools. But once the tools are in place, 2 and 3 they're not going to happen in overnight, but they will happen a lot quicker than 1 did.
This means for Chris, the Star Citizen PU will always be the unloved stepchild. But people buy ships to support the Star Citizen PU, they don't buy ships to support an interactive movie, Chris. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.